very good evening to you. Thank you so much for tuning into Kutv Primetime News at 9 on the 19th day of the month of February, the year 2025. We have lots of stories that are lined up for you, but first, the highlights. Government tightens leash on medical tourism with new SHA rules. President William Ruto sends 3 new laws boosting healthcare, agriculture, and registration services.
We want strong leaders for the law society of Kenya, leaders who are going to deliver matters public interest, leaders who are going to ensure that the judiciary is not corrupted.
Law Society of Kenya members vote to elect new president for the 2026-2028 term. And Githurai business owners protest over Kenha demolitions. Actually, we are in 2026, not as I said earlier, 2025. Remember that this broadcast is airing in all of our social media platforms. On YouTube, it's KUTV News Kenya. On X, it's KUTV _Kenya. Mutava Mungeli is joining us for the sign language interpretation. Welcome. Now, the government is now drawing a hard line on overseas treatment as the Social Health Authority unveiled a new framework to govern overseas treatment, limiting cost and demanding accountability. Our health reporter Yvonne Kemuma take a look at frameworks and what that means for Kenyans.
Previously, NHIF used to just pay without contracting.
The era of unregulated medical tourism may finally be coming to an end. For too long, patients have boarded planes with hope and referral letters, sometimes only to find themselves caught between foreign hospital administrators and empty promises of coverage back home. Principal Secretary for Medical Services Dr. Ouma Oluga says those days are over.
There are many Kenyans who used to go to facilities, they would come back. They have not been treated properly. Some of them would die here without a mechanism of follow-up. So what we have done right now is to ensure that all Kenyans who are going for overseas treatment, we have a clear mechanism of registering.
Under the new Social Health Authority framework, overseas treatment is now no longer a blank check.
This Cabinet Secretary, Duale, Honorable Duale, already gazetted. There is a list of all the conditions that cannot be treated here in Kenya. So in that list, if you have any of that diagnosis and the doctor has confirmed, then we write a letter and the Social Health Authority supports it.
With the new regulations, no patient can now seek treatment abroad without the combined signatures of 2 local doctors. This move seeks to ensure that Kenya's own facilities aren't being bypassed unnecessarily.
What we have a challenge with is that there are Kenyans who are also going abroad and their conditions can be treated here locally, because we also want to develop our healthcare system. Their conditions can be treated here locally, but because of sometimes commissions that some doctors are sending them, some hospitals in India, they come, they do health camps here, they entice people to go to India, and then when they go there, they get stuck, and then they start to say that the government is not paying, and that one we are dealing with very directly, so that we ensure those who go are those who deserve, and when they come back, there is a system that they get back to care, they get back to clinics. We don't waste a lot of money, for example, also in treating people that when they come back, there is no one to follow them up.
But while the PS painted a picture of a system finally finding its feet, beneath the surface, old wounds remain.
We are now owed around 535 million. Once in a while when we don't have the money, then it becomes a challenge. And
now it's not a big deal.
It's not as big, but you see a big hole, PS, a hole of 535 million is not little money. So if we could have it reduced or paid in full, that way we will ensure. And you know, the consumption of our supplies has also gone high. With the introduction of SHA, I think you need to look at the statistics. You will see that many people have been able to come to hospitals as opposed to before that.
The question now remains on whether the new framework will truly open doors or simply add more locks. Yvonne Kimuma, KUTV.
Moving on, President William Ruto today signed 3 new bills into law, with the bill now expected to improve service delivery across key sectors. The Births and Death Registration Act, sponsored by Gilgil Member of Parliament Martha Wangari, now mandates the establishment of at least 1 registration office in every sub-county. This is expected to reduce the distance families must travel to register births and obtain documents. In the agriculture sector, the Pyrethrum Repeal Bill, sponsored by Kikuyu MP Kimani Ichung'wah, removes conflicting regulations governing the pyrethrum industry. With the old Pyrethrum Act now repealed, the new law eliminates duplication and streamlines oversight under the Crops Act. The Social Work Professionals Bill, on the other hand, establishes a formal institute and board to regulate social workers, ensuring standardized training and ethical practices. The act was sponsored by Kaiti Member of Parliament Joshua Kimelu. Embu Senator Alexander Mundigi has appealed to the united opposition to call off their planned Friday demonstrations and instead embrace dialogue. The nationwide protests were called in response to alleged police inaction following an attack on a church service in Othaya, Nyeri County. Opposition leaders, including former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, were in attendance during the incident. Speaking at a burial in Igumori location, Berry South constituency, Senator Mundigi cautioned that past demonstrations have often turned chaotic. He noted that such events are frequently hijacked by criminals, leading to loss of life and widespread destruction of property. While acknowledging the grievances behind the protest, the senator argued that issues of police brutality can be addressed without resorting to street demonstrations.
Wataandamana, lakini watafanya mambo mabaya, na saa ingine wakati maandamano iko vijana ama wezi wanaingia huko ndani na watu wengi wanauawa, vijana wanatandikwa, pia hata vitu inaharibiwa. Kwa hivyo mimi siungi mambo ya maandamano. Kama ni mambo ya kuuliza swali, wangeenda kwa mkubwa wa polisi ambaye wa Kenya mzima, kama ni barua wasukue, na pia kama ni kitu haijafanyika iweze kuangaliwa itafanyika namna gani. Lakini tukirudi pale, wakati tulikuwa pale, economy iliharibika, barabara iliharibika, hali mingi za watu ikaharibika. Kwa hiyo mimi nasema vitu kama hizo nikiwa senator wa Embu County haitatusaidia.
In other news, Homa Bay Governor and ODM Chairperson Gladys Wanga has dismissed claims of deep divisions within the party, reaffirming her support for Oburu Oginga as the party leader. Speaking in Rongo Town, Wanga brushed off criticism from those questioning the party's direction ahead of its National Executive Council meeting that is scheduled for March 27th. She described the internal tension as political motivated and driven by tribal interest, not genuine ideological differences. Upcoming NEC meeting is expected to elect new officials and deliberate on ongoing negotiations with President Ruto's UDA party. However, concerns persist over a factional rift, with some members backing the ousted Secretary General Edwin Sifuna against Oginga's leadership, threatening party's cohesion ahead of the 2027 general election.
Lakini wale ambao hatutazungumza nao ni wale ambao wanaeneza ukabila, ni wale ambao wanaeneza chuki, ni wale ambao wanafikiria kuna wengine ambao hawafai na wengine ambao wanafaa. Hao hatutazungumza nao, lakini tutaingia mazungumzo na tutahakikisha ya kwamba ale mambo ambayo iko katika 10-point agenda, kwa sababu hapa Rongo kuna watoto wetu waliuawa Nairobi ama hapa wakati wa maandamano. Lazima hii maneno ya 10-point agenda ya compensation of victims of post-election violence, lazima sisi kama ODM tushikilie. Na sisi tunaambia wale wabunge ambao wako bunge waweke pesa ya compensation ya wale watu ambao waliumia wakati wa maandamano, wale ambao walikufa, pesa iwekwe hapo ndani, watu wapate compensation.
Now, Thika Road in Githurai was the scene of chaos as business owners and police clashed over demolitions carried out by the Kenya National Highways Authority, KENHA. The busy route was closed by protesters, which caused severe traffic jams and inconvenienced local business and commuters. Many local company owners have been in business for decades, stating that the demolitions are jeopardizing their livelihoods. Trade claims that for constructions scheduled for destructions, they received insufficient warning and compensation. They maintained that the demolition process ought to have been preceded by appropriate communication with authorities. Lawyers across the country today turned up at various polling stations, including the Milimani Law Courts in Nairobi, to elect a new president of the Law Society of Kenya, LSK, who will lead the society for the next 2 years. Among those contesting for the presidency are senior counsel Charles Kanjama, Peter Wanyama, and Mwaura Kabate.
The 2026 LSK election have kicked off as the country's umbrella body for lawyers elect its official for the 2026-2028 term. The exercise is seen as highly competitive, aimed at securing leadership that will strengthen the legal profession and safeguard the members' interests. The exercise involves approximately 18,000 lawyers got to cast their votes nationwide. The outgoing president of the LSK, Faith Odhiambo, has framed the elections as part of the strengthening legal and structural framework for fair leadership within the legal profession, emphasizing a move from reactive litigation to proactive reforms. Among those who voted is lawyer Danstan Omari, who said he had prayed for all the candidates and called for unity within the legal profession, regardless of who wins the various positions.
The leadership that is going to check the excesses of the state, that is going to fight for the common man, that is going to ensure the spirit of Wanjiku that pushed us to enact the constitution is implemented. Kura za 2027, hawa viongozi ambao tunawachagua kama mawakili ndio watakuwa ulinzi wa taifa nzima.
The presidential race has attracted 3 main candidates, Charles Kanjama, Peter Wanyama, and Mwaura Kabata, all pledging reforms, stronger representation of member, and improved welfare for the legal profession in the country.
Voting is being done in a very smooth and transparent manner, and we are happy so far with the progress in terms of numbers.
I am lucky enough to have been saved yesterday. There's someone who had filed a petition in court seeking to stop me from proceeding with the elections today. I am happy that the court struck out that application and the present petition. And in the going forward, there are mechanisms within the Law Society of Kenya to contest the results of this election. Personally, this is my first time to contest for the position of president. My other candidates, they have severally contested and they have lost. And whatever the outcome, this will be my last attempt, and I will accept the results with my whole heart.
Kenya, leaders who are going to deliver matters public interest, leaders who are going to ensure that the judiciary is not corrupted, leaders who are going to ensure that the executive arm of government is kept under check.
The outcome of this election will determine not only who leads the society for the 2026-2028 term, but also direction of the legal profession at a time when debates on the constitution, rights and good governance continue to intensify. Akida Kasim, KUTV.
And as we take that short commercial break, there is just an update on that story that has been aired by Akida Kasim. And the update is that Senior Counsel Charles Kanjama has won the election, and he's the president of LSK, and his learned fellows have started to write up for him or to him congratulatory messages. Now we are due to take that commercial break. We'll be back with more stories. Stay tuned.
Miti, panda, panda, miti. Our planet's future is in our hands. However, there is a threat to the brightness of this tomorrow. On EarthCheck, we share the challenges, the solutions, and the hope.
I would call this a very momentous day, a very critical day.
Every episode, every story, every step we take creates a ripple. Join me, the environmentalist Emmanuel Kutosi, on KUTV every Wednesday at 8 p.m. and be part of EarthCheck. Welcome.
A new era, a new people. This is the Law Matters Show. A program that brings you legal sensitization on your television.
My statement is written and just the quote the prosecution.
I think that this loss is a setback for Raila Odinga.
What policy recommendations were fronted by the candidate?
With diversity, we demystify important legal issues locally, regionally, and internationally.
What Tanzanians.
Join me, Elvin Onsongo, as I bring you more insights on law matters.
We are looking at social issues. What is the problem? Is it the economy? Is it...
Law Matters Show, creating awareness, advocacy, and enhancing lives.
Hello everybody, I'm your host Yuri, and this is KU Plug, the best entertainment and nightlife show Kenya has to offer. Only here in KU TV, and since it's the first episode, let me introduce you kidogo to what we are about. We have Tubonge, where we have conversations with nightlife personalities, DJs and creatives. We have the Night Shift, where we document Kenya's vibrant nightlife, DJs, events, artists and culture. We have Banja, capturing raw public opinions on trending topics, views and experiences. KU Na KU Plug sio KU Plug bila kukosa the plug, where we spotlight underground talent, student businesses, fashion trends and viral movements. And finally, Behind the Tent, a cinematic behind the scenes of music videos, film sets, photo shoots, events and hustle stories. So, let's dive in.
Welcome back, and let's keep on informing you. Public officers at Kenyatta University have received intensive training aimed at equipping them with good leadership skills. The two-day training seeks to impact knowledge on how to handle complaints and effectively disseminate information within the institution. Here's more. In public institutions, it's rare to lack complaints or issues that spark debate, mainly due to the large population within such institutions, and this is where public service officers play a critical role. In response, Kenyatta University today organized a two-day training aimed at sharpening the skills of its public officers on their obligation under the Access to Information Act, aimed at equipping them on how and what to disseminate, alongside ways of resolving complaints raised.
We have had several complaints that have been brought to our office against the university. So they approached us and told us now that there are complaints and they want to be able to know how to deal with these complaints. They requested the commission to send us now to come here and train them.
On his part, the acting Vice-Chancellor of Kenyatta University, John Okumu, through his representative, emphasized the importance of having clear communication procedures to improve service delivery, noting that a special committee has been formed to help achieve these objectives.
The process is also not so rigid.
According to Joyce Kihara, a legal officer in the Access to Information at the Commission on Administrative Justice, the training is particularly beneficial in fostering solutions between different generations.
In our training, we normally work with institutions to ensure that they cover the different generations in their unique circumstances, such that for complaints from maybe their older generation, those are people who are used to writing letters, they come to the institution and make a formal complaints. But when it comes to the young people, you see that they have embraced internet and the internet use in terms of raising their concerns. So whichever the generation type, we are preparing the institution to ensure that they include all of them in terms of the structures that they put into place to deal with complaints.
Joyce today joined Kenyatta University public servants in empowering them on the importance of establishing strong strategies for handling complaints within their sector,
to ensure that we capacity build institutions so that we can strengthen them to be able to create structures of dealing with complaints within the institution itself. So once we do continuous capacity building, they're able to empower themselves in how to deal with complaints and to effectively reduce the number of complaints that come into the institution.
As public officers continue participating in the training to gain skills, a call has been made for institutions to put in place effective mechanisms for addressing complaints. Ochieng, Cynthia, Kutv. Now on to education matters. Education Cabinet Secretary Julius Migo Sogamba has affirmed the government's shift to data-driven, evidence-based research in the field of education. The Prime Cabinet Office recently established independent research department which will help with overseeing the opening of the Harnessing Education for Impact in Africa session at Kisii University, with this being the first time the research has been integrated into educational initiatives.
A year ago and what we are trying to do as a government is to ensure that research is mainstreamed so that the decisions that are made in terms of policies are actually underpinned by data and evidence arising out of the research that has been undertaken by our institutions. So this is a group of a number of our partners who have come together and collaborated and they've raised resources in order to be able to advance research in education, especially in the areas of language, which is the chair for Kisii University. Mathematics will be the chair for Embu University, and Kenyatta University will also have community and social sciences. So we are starting with 3 chairs across the country, but they are going to be increased to 5 chairs. The output for research from the African continent in terms of those researchers that are African-led and output is only at 3%, and this collaboration aims to raise that to 30% in the next 20-25 years up to 2050.
Kenya and international researchers have launched a pioneering climate project along the Indian Ocean coastline, exploring whether the ocean can be enhanced to absorb more carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. The initiative, led by the Technical University of Mombasa in partnership with German and local research institutes, is testing a process known as ocean alkalinity enhancement. The technique involves adding naturally occurring alkaline minerals to seawater to accelerate the ocean's natural carbon absorption capacity. Marine biochemist Leila Kitu says Kenya is hosting the first such experiment in tropical waters, part of a global project spanning 17 countries. Over 2 weeks, scientists will monitor how marine life responds to control changes in alkalinity levels.
The aim of it is to enhance the capacity of the ocean to take up CO2. And so scientists are researching across the world if we can be able to add alkaline materials or alkaline minerals into the ocean in order to increase the capacity of the ocean to take up more CO2 from the atmosphere. And in turn, this is meant to reduce atmospheric CO2 and therefore mitigating climate change. So this project here in Kenya, we just started today, and what we're aiming to understand is how tropical ecosystems where the temperatures are high, where productivity may be also low, will actually be impacted by such a technology if it were to be done in these waters here.
So when you talk about alkalinity enhancement, is that you introduce some chemicals that will absorb the carbon dioxide and allow the equilibration of the carbon dioxide from the atmosphere into the sea, so that we are able now to remove that carbon dioxide and actually mitigate against the impacts of climate change.
Now on that note, we are due to take a very short breather. We'll be back with the sports news.
Alhamdulillah, tumshukuru Mwenyezi Mungu Azza wa Jalla, ameweza kutujalia tena mwaka huu, mwaka 2026, kuingiliwa na mwezi mtukufu wa Ramadhan, mwezi wa baraka, mwezi wa neema, mwezi wa mambo teletele ambayo kwamba tukiyashika basi tutafaulu. Mwenyezi Mungu atujalie tuweze kukubaliwa katika Ramadhani hii. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
And on to sports news. According to Kenya Athletics, the 2026 Cape Kayuna Classic will probably take place somewhere else than Ulinzi Complex, where the 2025 competition was held. The location for this year's event has not yet been decided, but it will take place on the 24th of April. However, Nyayo Stadium is most likely to host this year's event. This is according to Barnaba Korir, head of the Athletics Kenya Nairobi area. It appears that the stadium will host the Kip Keino Classic for the third time in the event's history. This is despite the worries that Nyayo might not be available because it's scheduled to be closed for renovation instead of that is intended rather to host the Africa Cup of Nations come 2027. Well, that is all we had for you tonight on the 19th of February, the year 2026. This time I dared not to miss that out. All thanks to my producer Yvonne Kemuma, the director Lewi, and on the sign language interpretation was Mutava Mongeli. Do have a good night till next time.